Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
No Paul.
It's that annual show.
March Madness. He's knee deep in Miller Lights at this point.
Well,
Bud
said
Lights.
it started as
Bud
well.
Lights, Fred.
Bud Lights. Probably he's about 4 sips in right now at 12:05.
So who's this guy from Texas?
This is my favorite part.
And somebody is. I
Who
heard,
is this
I heard
person?
somebody. Mike. No,
Who's going to be the Andy in the new one? Like, you guys have never transitioned to an Andy yet.
there's only so many
angry
a-holes in the
people.
world.
Finishing each other's
Anyway,
sentences.
another great phone call by Todd. He can put away the knee pads now.
Ooh, wow.
Hey.
Wow. I love it. Listener on listener crime.
Wait, what's the Lazar bachelor party going to be like? What is that?
They hired Darren Orlovsky to come in and do a striptease. He comes out of a cake.
What we got here is me.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's Matisse.
Back again.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we're getting emails already. They're not good. Not good.
I'll liven it up. Don't worry about it.
It's Alex. It's Paul. Myself. Deuce is in Orlando at the owners' meeting. Evan is at LSU. Where is he?
LSU.
LSU at the Pro Day.
Daniel's first, then May. Back to back.
We got Matt and Jules in the booth, so it's a little bit of a different cast today. We'll try to keep it going, right?
That's
You know, big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. So we had the head coach talk yesterday at the owners' meeting. We had the not yesterday, Monday. Wait a minute. What day? is
Tuesday.
Yesterday. Yes, you are correct.
Yesterday and Monday.
Mayo
So
spoke
right about
yesterday.
both.
I am so screwed up. I called Matt Smith, No Socks, yesterday at about 5:30 because I thought yesterday was Tuesday. And I said, where's the owner? He says he's going tomorrow in the morning. I'm like, I thought he was going today. No, he's going tomorrow. I thought yesterday was Tuesday. And this, the owner's going on Wednesday. So now I don't know why I thought yesterday was Tuesday. Anyway, the owner went today. The head coach went yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about what they had to say.
Yeah, and we had all that stuff up on the website, so I'm
Yep.
sure that our listeners had a chance to
Yeah.
watch it. If not live, you got a chance to see it, especially Gerard. It's been
Yeah.
up there for a whole day now. Some interesting stuff.
But as I am wont to do,
That's
sometimes
want with an O.
I have something that's been it's been building,
Uh-oh.
and it's Paul's people, the media people covering the team, not all of them, but a lot of them are I just think are being really, really too nitpicky, particularly Gerard about what he's been saying. Like, do I think he talks too much? Yes. And I think, like, sometimes he talks, and he should, needs to take a beat before he answers a question. He doesn't have to, just say everything that's on his mind. But, like, to say that that's an indication that things are in disarray here is really just, I think, going way over the top in criticism. And I don't know if anyone else agrees.
Can
but-
we?
I agree, 100%.
Can we identify? Can we call some? Me, I like a good media spat.
Well,
Can we identify someone?
I was talking to somebody here this morning.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I was accosted by the same
okay,
person.
yeah, who brought up a couple people.
Yeah,
Do we want to go there? Like,
Yeah.
one of
I
them-
do.
One of them was
because I haven't heard the second part. I totally agree with your first part, 1,000%. Haven't really heard a lot. I've heard a couple
yeah.
about a lot of concern with the lack of experience, and they think it's going to
okay.
be, and they think it's going to be a disaster.
Okay, well,
I haven't really heard it's going to be a disaster because he talks a lot.
yeah. I mean, one of them was Greg Bedard,
Oh,
and the other
Oh.
one was Callahan.
did not see that one coming. Okay, and,
Yeah.
and Andrew Callahan
Yeah.
from the Herald. I did not see his stuff. I've heard a little of Greg.
Yeah, and it's just like, should we be questioning the lack of experience? Sure, he's never done this before.
Rookie head
like
coach.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a fair concern, but to think like it's going to be a disaster. Why? Why are we already labeling it a disaster when they I think Mayo missed an opportunity yesterday. Karen asked him, is this a 4-13 team in your eyes? Because, there were some people like Bedard who said, really they were a 6 or 7 win team. A couple of things.
That's why I was surprised when you said him.
So she said, is this a 4-13 team? And Gerard had like this long answer. All I would have said is, no, we're not. We're a 0-0 team.
That's a perfect answer.
This team hasn't played yet. And in fact, we don't even have this team built yet. We're still in the process. So, yeah, we're not a 4-13 team. We're a 0-0 team. But, like, it's just people are really quick to label this thing a disaster, and I think it's unfair.
It's crazy because I mentioned a couple months ago, but, like, once the changeover happened, we have Mayo. We're locked into the number 3 pick, and now all you can do is kind of wait. And it just seems like people are antsy and just coming up with stuff to say. Like, I agree with you. Mayo should have just been like, we're 0-0, but like you don't know until like maybe OTA, see how it's going, but you're not gonna know until training camp.
Right.
Like,
you're not gonna know until they play.
They're gonna play. They're gonna play 2 months, and you still probably won't know.
Yeah. And the other thing that I get it, they swung and missed at Calvin Ridley, for whatever reason. They claim it wasn't money, whatever. But this whole thing that they've got all this money and they haven't spent it yet. Every time we bring up a player like Tyrant, do you really want to get him? All these guys have signed these 1-year deals. Is that really where the Patriots should have spent their money? If you think it is, okay. But, like, I don't really see, other than Ridley, where, boy, they really screwed up by not going after so-and-so and spending a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make an argument for the tackles, and I think you're one that made the argument
I
for the
love
tackles.
Tyron Smith,
Yeah.
but
and
to
go for nothing like that?
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to go
$6
for nothing. Yeah. I think for nothing I would have taken him.
Right.
But, I just
and I would say Jonah Williams, for 2 years, that he signed with Arizona. I think that would have been a perfectly reasonable contract to plug someone in the other side. You have Owenu, and Mayo sort of backed up that he plans on starting at right tackle, but did not rule out him moving around as well.
Sure.
But I thought that would have made some sense to alleviate one of those major needs heading into the draft.
Yep. But I just don't, like this whole thing, they've screwed up. I think they're making an evaluation, and I don't think it's for a lack of wanting to spend. They just haven't felt, this is the right move. So I don't know. I don't see where everyone is just so
I think people's
on the ledge.
People's expectations are just way too high for next season with all the intangibles here, and also I think reporters and fans alike went so long having to read in between every single little line to get any clues from Bill, and he wasn't going to give them. And now Gerard's kind of just not laying it all on the table, but very cordial, very casual in conversation. And they're trying to read into that too, or take everything so literally. And it's calm down. What are we doing? Calm down.
And again, now I think the disaster part is ridiculous. Okay. We haven't even played a game. I don't think it's any less ridiculous to suggest they're going to go 17-0.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To suggest.
But
but
even the owner said, "I hope we don't struggle." I mean, that's kind of a big admission.
But my point being is, when you talk about people being disappointed with what they've done so far, that's a different thing than saying it's going to be a disaster. The Mayo tenure is not going to work.
Yeah.
Because I think it's certainly realistic if someone is thinking, well, I'm a little disappointed for a couple of reasons. One, you mentioned the money that they had. He said that about the cash to burn.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
which he walked back on Monday.
No, I know, but he said it.
Yeah.
And that establishes expectations.
Yeah.
And then when the expectation is that they're going to be aggressive and they're not, I understand why people are disappointed. That doesn't translate to this is a disaster.
Yeah.
So
all that translates is he's brand new to this. I don't think you really have to, when you're in a role like that, you need to think 10 steps ahead with everything that comes out of your mouth. You need to think about all the different ways it can be interpreted.
Right.
And it's just, I don't think he's ever had this much of a telescope on him.
I was thinking, remember when you were a kid, you didn't always have money in your pocket, but sometimes maybe your grandmother gave you $20 and you have $20 in your pocket and you want to spend that money. And so you go to the toy store and all of a sudden you don't know what to spend it on. It's like, oh, I wanted to spend it, but like I can't decide what to spend it on. It's kind of like maybe how they're feeling right now.
Never had that problem.
No. But you know, you ever remember that when you were a kid?
I do. I don't know. All I think about is the receivers, and it's just like you're not. I don't know. Spending on a 31-year-old Keenan Allen with the draft pick and then having to pay him, or Calvin Ridley's 29. Like, look what happened when we spent all that money a couple years ago. It's just.
Well, the most disappointing thing with Ridley that it's not so much the player. It's I would have loved to have had that. A receiver better than anything that we've got now on the roster, so it takes a little bit of pressure off having to get one early in the draft.
Yep.
You know, we could get one in the 3rd or 4th round.
I'll be honest. My biggest disappointment with Ridley is they wanted him.
Yeah.
They're disappointed.
Yeah.
And Robert, when he talked this morning, reiterated it. They sort of talked about a whole story about his girlfriend, was really wanting to stay in the South and was willing to, they were all in on Calvin Ridley if you listen to them.
No, Robert said they were willing to make up the difference with cost of living.
That to me is reason to be disappointed. Yeah. They wanted something. Well, that was part of their plan.
They really wanted him, but to me, from what Robert said and from what I've heard, is they got the feeling that this guy's going to hold us over a barrel. He really doesn't want to come here.
He doesn't want to be here.
We don't need that. If we don't, and then fine, go. I think they just gave up.
Yeah. I'm laughing at the idea of Calvin Ridley's girlfriend just having her breakfast this morning, or waking up and seeing Robert Kraft talking about her,
and having Sully and Obi, taunting her and sliding into DMs, making fun of him. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Yoko.
The other thing that
leave the girl alone.
And we've talked about this on this show before. I'm getting the sense that there's more and more people who cover the team who are fans. Yeah. And they're covering the team from a fan point of view. It's not like, they should have done this. It's like, man, I wish they had done this. Well, what do you care? Well, are you covering the team as an independent journalist, or are you covering the team as a fan?
I get what you're saying about the fan part of it. But, even if you don't care about the team, which I don't think any of these guys fall into that category, they all care. Because the vast majority of them grew up around here, and they do care.
Yeah.
But even if you didn't care at all, isn't it more compelling to cover a team that's relevant?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So you want good players to cover good, but you're covering a team that's in the
I just get the sense that, they've got their fanboy cap on rather than their journalist cap on.
Well, that's always been the case, though. It didn't bother you when they were going 12-4.
Well, there was nothing to talk about because there was only one answer. They're great, and if you don't write that, you're an idiot.
And it made it easy. It really made it easy to cover the team, and now they're in a place where the only stuff that's really going to move the needle numbers-wise and with clicks is kind of, what does best on social media? Sparking outrage,
drama,
controversy, drama. So anytime you're tweeting about that stuff, anytime you're putting a story out with a headline.
Pet photos. I like that.
Yeah. See, I
don't think they're putting that out, though.
But I think when they were winning, and you would know more about this than I would, Alex, but when they were winning, all you got was over the top positive. And I know you're being,
not really.
You're being argumentative for the sake of being argumentative. But there were times that you and I would talk about things that you wish they had done, even in the midst of a 12-4 season. A lot of those guys wouldn't write about anything like that. Every move they made was the right. I told you last year.
Well, people would get mad at you. They'd be like,
"This is a solid signing."
Winning team. You're not happy with a winning team. What are you? What are you complaining
about? But the
about?
point is, I think that they want that because you get the social media affirmation.
Yes.
And that's what they do.
Yes.
They cater to their fans because they know the fans
solidify the base.
Yep.
I've never seen a team that every single move they've made, whether they let a guy go or they sign a guy, they make a trade, every single move universally is loved. I've never seen a team like that. And I've seen a lot of successful teams. For the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of the newbies that have come on the beat, every single move. This guy's going to fit right in. He's got this, that. You're even seeing it now. They're coming off a 4-13 season, and you're still getting, I'm getting this breathless updates on Armand Watts, who I never even heard of.
I'm with you, Paul.
Okay,
no idea
about how good, and it's in my I've gone through this before. I don't know how they get there, Alex, but they're in my feed somehow, and I'm getting these video clips. And this guy, this is Vince Wilfork 2.0. It can't be that way.
Yeah.
And I think that they are that way. They don't really believe it, but they know if I go strong positive, I'm not going to get any pushback. The fans are going to love that. That's what my fans want to hear. And if it goes bad, well, hey, at least I went bad being optimistic. You know, if I rip him and he ends up being a really good player, then I'm going to hear about that later.
Yeah.
You know, like you know when when Andy talks about Rashad Mendenhall.
Right.
You know, like, oh, he didn't pan out, he still hears about it.
I guess my overall thing is this season could go any way. It could go up, down. It could go any way. But there's nothing yet that I've seen that would indicate which way it's going to go. And I think at this point to say it's going to be disaster any more than it's going to be 17-0 is really premature and, just I think irresponsible if you're covering the team as a journalist.
What do you think of the wins line set for the year?
What is it?
What is it?
4.5.
4.5.
Like, I can understand that.
Agreed.
Look at the competition. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Other teams are trying to get better too. We're not the only team trying to improve.
Yeah, I mean, it's premature because the draft hasn't come yet. But I mean, there's been a lot of team building going on, and the Patriots chose to do a certain way and retain a couple of players, and they haven't, in my opinion, really improved anything. Now, the draft is a big part of that.
Yep.
You're going to have high draft picks in all the rounds, and you have a chance to get a couple of impact players.
Yeah.
Obviously, quarterback
And
the top of
the
list.
disdain for, signing their own players. Like, you have to sign play. If you get rid of Duggar, if you get rid of Mwenyu, you're going to have to sign people to replace them.
And isn't that
it's
kind
like,
of a good
so you chose to
sign?
get your own people.
Isn't it kind of a good sign that after all the dysfunction that we've all lived through the last 2 years, the guys that were actually in the locker room and saw what was going on every day, like the guys that actually have to live it and their career rides on all of that, they were willing to come back. They still wanted to be a part of this.
Not sure about Duggar yet, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean,
well, not
I
Duggar,
think
but guys
Owen-
like Uche,
I
guys
think
like
Owen-
Jennings,
Yeah,
guys
I don't-
like Mike Owenyu.
I don't. I mean,
Jennings.
so
Hunter.
this is where I'll push back a little. Like Owenyu's different. Owenyu, I think, had an option to go. I'm not going to say anywhere, but I think he had options.
And
I
we
think
did
he
give
was
him a
highly
bag.
regarded. 1 year, $3 million, 3 years, $12 million, 1 year, $1.3 million. These guys didn't have options.
Yeah, but they
That's
could have.
Uche,
I'm sure
Jennings.
they could have
Hunter
gone
Henry.
somewhere else.
Hunter Henry was
Grager.
probably the best
I'm
tight end
sure-
in free agency.
I'm sure they could have gone
Yeah.
somewhere else for similar money.
Yeah.
But they chose to stay
Right.
with
So
what
why
they
would
know.
right? So why would you do that?
Well, because they hate
Well, they don't hate Gerard Mayo.
No, but what? No, I didn't say.
Yeah, but like
I
after
say-
a situation
Alex,
like last
Alex was
year,
saying if
so
it was
toxic,
so bad,
like,
then
if
they
it
would
was
want to leave.
Yeah, you would think that all the toxicity, no matter what is coming in, no matter what changes are going to be made, you just
Right.
need a change of scenery, get the hell out.
Right.
Yeah,
it-
I think if there was options, they would have gone.
So maybe it wasn't so bad. You can think that. That's fine.
I mean,
Agree
when
to
a guy
disagree.
signs a 1 year, $3 million deal, I don't think that he signed because he wanted to stay part of this culture.
Well, he also
He's betting on himself.
he didn't leave because he hated it. He stayed.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say he hated it. He loves Gerard Mayo. He said that last year.
Yeah.
Uche. He said specifically, I would run through a wall for that.
So
guy.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine, but if he had options, he'd be gone.
Add a
That's all
win
I'm
to that
saying.
win total. Add a win to that win total. 'Cause
All I'm trying to say is if he
we're,
had,
up to,
if,
we're up to 5.5.
there was a lot of talk about him having these multi-million dollar offers that he turned down. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think the big one's Hunter Henry. I think he could have got a lot. Jose came back. I
I don't
that's
think he could have gotten a lot.
Really?
No. $9 million a year. He's going to get more than that.
He could have got as much if he didn't like it. He could have got as much and left, but he didn't.
I think that's, for a guy his age, that's topping it out if you ask me.
All right. Well, anyway.
29.
$9 million a year
Let's
for
just-
a 29-year-old
let's just-
receiver coming off a major injury, tight end coming off an injury.
Let's just hold our breath. We got the draft coming up, and as the owner said, and I think Gerard might have mentioned it too, guys will get released after the draft once teams figure out who they got. You're gonna have to pay more, probably, but we'll see. The team building process does not end even after the draft. It continues right up and including preseason and.
I think there could be some big ticket guys. Got
Yeah.
my eye on the receivers.
Yeah.
Higgins and Ayuk, I have my eye on. They continue.
I don't know
sort
why
of,
they would get rid of Ayuk.
they don't want to get rid of him.
I think he wants to leave.
These guys want to sign contracts that they're not getting.
Yeah,
But I don't think either team wants to get rid of.
I
those
love
guys,
Deebo
but you never
Samuel,
know.
but I think I would, if I'm the 49ers, I'd prioritize Ayuk over, and I'd get rid of Samuel.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably a lot of dead money if they do that, so they can't.
Debo's
but-
been hurt a lot too.
And I don't think for San Francisco, it shouldn't be an either or.
Yeah,
It should be I want both.
yeah.
But I agree with you. I would hold on to Ayuk. And let Debo
I'm waiting
go.
to see though that like if there's a Higgins trade, similar like AJ Brown a couple years ago, just something that we're not.
I mean, look at
expecting.
L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
same kind of deal, and he goes for a 3rd round pick and some other stuff. Like it's not outrageous, but you got to pay the guy.
Yeah. So it's a lose. Well, win lose. I don't know.
Okay.
But
and
those are the guys. Those 2 receivers. I think there's a. I'm not going to tell you I think the Patriots are going to get one, but I think those are big ticket items that could be a swing for the Patriots.
yeah, the weaponizing hasn't started yet. Apparently.
Even you can't stop.
I know you opened the
It's
show
okay, it's
complaining
okay for him
about
to
it.
do it though.
I
He finger wags me for doing
but just
it. But
because
that's
that
okay.
Do
hasn't
as I
happened,
say, not as I do.
just because it hasn't happened
Thanks,
yet,
Dad.
I don't think it's a disaster. You know,
Right, and I don't think it's a
that,
disaster.
I don't think that Gerard Mayo, spilling his OJ. Is,
Oh, okay, Joe Murray now.
no, that was
Joe Murray was funny.
No, that was
last night.
Callahan, I think. And his, it's a sign. It's
Well, that's what Joe Murray was saying last night. I at first I thought he was making a joke, but then he
sign of
kept
what?
saying it like he's all over. It was a metaphor for like
Right.
For what?
And I was like,
for the
because
whole
it's a
team.
mess.
It's
'Cause
a mess. It's a mess.
This is what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Looking too deep
Like
into it.
and
That's
so,
who I thought you were talking
so-
about. That's why
so
I was
dramatic.
surprised. To
Why
hear.
are these
So
men so dramatic? I just
no,
don't
I-
understand.
It's just not a man-woman thing.
Who's the one trying to create
The superior-
symbolism and spilled
the
orange
superior
juice?
gender
Not
here. There we
me.
And I just feel bad for the fans. Like the writers are the conduit to the team, and they have to sift through this stuff. I don't know.
Some might say it was karma.
Paul was on one of his shows yesterday for
I
4
was,
hours.
It was my show yesterday.
Now I noticed something about Paul. When he's on one of his shows, he's a different Paul. He's more cool, kind of
Cool, Paul.
Yeah, he's more like After Dark Paul.
Alex, am I cool?
You know,
You're so cool.
And if you really listen closely, he sounds like Dan Shaughnessy.
It's like when you have that friend that with you they're normal, but then they hang out with other friends who are cooler
Yeah.
and they put on like
It's
this
like-
And
facade.
yet, so you think I was cool and understated comparatively to
Yeah,
what
you're
I
still
normally am.
snarky, but you're in an understated way.
Okay, well, I still got accosted
Yeah.
for, you know.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I only heard the end of the show. Yeah.
Oh, no. There was
Yeah.
nothing on the show. The show was harmless.
Okay.
The show was, in my opinion, kind of dull.
Well, you gotta stir it up when you get on these shows, Paul. And I'll tell you, when Tony Maserati first started going on the radio, he was nice Tony, and then he turned into evil Tony, and that's when he got the full-time job.
So we need evil Paul.
You would recognize there's a little bit of a line that I have
I
to
know.
sort of follow.
But you can
when
be
I do
evil
that,
about
right?
the other teams.
We didn't talk a lot about the other teams, but I ripped into the Red Sox and Bruins a little
Well,
bit.
okay.
Nice.
Who isn't these days?
Well, the Bruins, yeah.
Oh, by the way, should we talk about
I was
Ohtani
told
a little bit?
I was
Yes.
told to stay.
Oh.
I was told to stay in my lane.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
just
The
I don't
whole
want to
thing's a
like
little shady.
you know.
Also, the stuff happening with did you guys see the Michael Porter Jr.'s brother stuff too? A lot of sports gambling.
The prop betting
Lot of
basketball
ex-
player.
Yeah.
So
lot
can
of
I say
gambling
one thing about the game?
controversy.
I don't. Ohtani aside, I don't understand why the leagues have to get criticized for their partnerships now with all the betting
I
sites
agree.
as a result of this.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't really understand what one has to do with the other.
I agree.
It doesn't look great.
Yeah, it happened in the Premier League, and this player,
Especially Ohtani, which was not a book, was not one of these.
Right. It was with a
League-
bookie.
Like an
It's with-
old-fashioned bookie.
Right.
But here's the
Joey
thing.
the nose.
So initially it was,
He fronted the money.
interpreter betting, and Ohtani, wired $4.5 million to this bookie. Then now the story is the money was stolen
Yep.
by his interpreter. Okay, if that's true, the interpreter's going to get arrested, right?
Yep.
And the bookie probably too for an accessory. And if it's not true, then the bookie's, this interpreter is going to spill the beans, right? I'm not going to cover for this guy. So eventually,
Well, it
I
depends
think.
on how much he's getting paid.
Well, I don't. I
He's
think,
with them. He's with them 24/7, more or less. Like there's no way.
Yeah,
he doesn't
I think
know.
eventually, more of this. There's more to come here. So I'm not going to let myself get arrested if I didn't actually steal the money. So either he did or he didn't.
It's just so fishy.
the whole thing's fishy.
Aren't there games that were confirmed to be bet on where Ohtani got shelled, and I don't know. I don't know if I looked into it too deeply, but it just is.
Yeah,
so
I don't know
fishy
about
to
that,
me.
but the guy's now being
They
accused
have
of being a
proof that he
thief.
bet on baseball.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because if they have proof that he bet on baseball, he's never going to play again.
Well, Ohtani, but what about if the interpreter bet on baseball?
Oh, that's different.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where the lines.
That's
low
what
blow.
But
that's what I had
I'm
thought
saying
I read.
Ohtani.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
I
yeah.
had thought I read. I'll confirm this in a little bit, but I had thought I saw something about games being bet on by the
Well, where did
translator
you
where
see it?
Ohtani
Scoop
Twitter.
Francisco
Yeah,
will
so
be on it in
Twitter,
a minute.
yeah.
Right. That's why I said I have to
You
verify
can't
it.
do that.
Take it with a
You
grain
can't
of
do
salt.
that. But like the guy's now being accused of being a thief, so he should be arrested. And if he goes to jail, then that's probably true, and Ohtani will be off the hook. But if he all of a sudden flips, this story's got legs. If that's the case,
Well,
Or
it's
he
gonna
goes to jail and
there's
takes
gonna
the
be
fall
there's gonna
and-
be legs. I don't know what happened, but his story is, in my opinion, not believable.
Ohtani's?
Yeah.
Ohtani's.
Like
Yeah.
his story, his statement yesterday is not believable.
No,
to
I
me.
think he's a degenerate gambler, and I think they were.
Well, that'll be the worst case. Now, I think the best case for him would be that it is the interpreter who is doing all the gambling, and maybe he didn't know that he was doing it in the first place. This is best case scenario for Ohtani.
But how is your
and then
money getting
and then
stolen?
he needed to get bailed out, and then he's bailing him out, then realizing, well, it's just as illegal the way I'm bailing him out. I'm wiring money to like all this stuff, and now he's walking away from the guy. But more likely, he knew all along. Or
Probably.
worst case, as Alex is, the guy's betting, and he knows he's betting.
Yeah.
And now he's maybe.
I think
How
that's
do you
what it is.
steal
Impacting
that
the
much
games.
money without why does your translator have access to any of your bank information to steal that money? It's not like he has that cash lying around.
well,
and
I
it
mean,
got stolen.
he could have said,
He
"I
could
want you to
have it.
manage my
Yeah.
money." He
Your
could have said that.
translator is
If
the
they're
guy.
with-
Your Shohei Ohtani and your financial
I don't know his
manager is
relationship.
doubling as your
If they're
translator.
with each other as
I
much as
don't
they
think
are,
so.
there's no way he did.
I mean, he was paying him $300,000 a year to be a translator, so he must have been friendly with this guy, right?
You would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find impossible, but
I
I,
don't-
find it impossible that he didn't know these transactions were taking place.
Yeah.
I find that impossible.
That's why. It's
Well, you
fishy.
hear a lot of times of people just getting ripped off by people they trust.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So
that
I don't
happens.
know. But if the guy's going to jail and he didn't do it, he's not going to just like go quietly,
Well,
right?
He's got a $700 million contract that someone might be coming his way if he gets out. So.
Oh, maybe.
You go, you take the fall. This is the money.
could be.
waiting
Do
for
a
you.
couple years,
Yeah.
get out. You're
That
good.
could be. Yeah.
And we got the basketball player who got caught too.
Yeah.
Porter's brother.
I don't know about that.
Alex just said that.
Yeah.
There was like a prop bet situation. He was like the most bet on guy for prop bets, but he's like a random
Jonte
fringe.
Porter.
He's like a
center
fringe
for the Raptors
player.
and somebody's betting the overs on his 3-pointers. Like, who's doing that?
Just taking them or making them.
Making them, and they were cashing, right?
Yeah.
And like an abnormal amount of bets being put on this really fringe player who's really only getting 10 minutes a game because they suck so bad, and it's
And
like
then
why
and
are
then he
and then he's leaving games.
Well, here's the thing. You talk about like what's different now about betting than it used to be. I think that these, now that it's legal and these FanDuels and DraftKings and everything,
it's on mobile phones.
and we're finding out about it. It's all out there.
And there's
it's
there's
public
data.
Yeah.
See, I actually that
right.
kind of gets to my point about I don't know why it's so much worse now that it's legal.
Right.
There's
Well, it's
actual
being pushed
data
on
to
you,
track,
too.
but you
And
can
it's
track
marketed
it. And
everywhere.
when something like that, in other words, if that guy's brother was betting through Joey the Nose, no one would ever know.
Right.
But so the thing is too, they said the over was like at 4 3-pointers. He bets the under, hits 3, and then tells his coach like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm
there's like a
dizzy."
nosebleed.
Or like
Yeah, he got pulled from the
he got hit in
game
the
and-
eye, and he's like out, or I don't feel well.
And then a stomach bug or something.
Yeah.
He had to leave it. Yeah, I don't know. Fishy.
the math ain't mathin'.
Well, and that's yeah. So anyway, I just thought it's sports and it's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah,
and
it
we
is a
we
big.
should
It
mention
is a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you guys notice the difference though? Like I noticed with my guy friends, like my little sister's boyfriend, like casual fans that never really bet before now degenerates. Like their girlfriends are like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to get them
That's
to stop.
that I totally agree with. That's a different argument. I'm talking about the impunity of the games. Shaughnessy,
The optics still
is
aren't
ripping
great for me.
tubes out of his body so he can make fun of Major League Baseball because of Ohtani.
Yeah.
Like that's the part I don't get.
And then I heard, well, what does it matter if he's betting with a bookie or one of these, DraftKings? It makes a big deal because if you get into the hole with a bookie,
Right.
they might say, hey, to get out of the
They
hole,
got you. They got you.
I need you to do something.
What was that?
can't
30
do
for
that.
30.
DraftKings isn't doing
you
that.
can't
playing
do
for
that.
the
Your
mob.
money's gone.
Right.
Did you guys see playing for the mob?
The BC one?
Yeah. That's a good one.
Paul liked that.
I do.
Me
As a B-
too.
as a
I
BU
did
grad.
too.
All right. So let's get back to football. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. Anything else we want to put on the table before we start opening it up to the listeners?
Toyota rate.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though. If you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go
Crazy.
places.
I don't know talk about some of the rule changes. We'll get into that
Yeah,
later.
no, we can put that on the table.
The hip drop banned.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't
hate
like it.
I
either.
hate
Yeah.
it. It's ruining football.
Here's the thing, like you can get hurt in football. I don't see that this type of tackle is any more dangerous than any others.
Well, they
And-
tell you it's 25% more dangerous.
Oh, is that right?
This
That's
tackle,
their data.
This tackle got created because he got yelled at for going for the head, getting fined and flagged.
Well, also, like if a guy is like a yard away from the first down marker, you're not going to go forward and tackle him, and he's automatically got it. You're going to try to put your weight back to keep him from getting any more yardage, and that's the hip tackle.
Yeah.
Your body's going down and backwards instead of forward, driving into the guy. I mean, what are you going to do?
If you're a defensive back and you have Derrick Henry running at you full speed, what are you supposed to do at this point?
Right.
Just let him score?
Well, it's not so much coming at you.
Or chasing him down.
It's if you're at the side or you're chasing him down. If you're in pursuit, you're trying to keep him from getting more yardage. Well,
that to me is the key. The
Yeah.
key one. Like if this is a key third down. There's the sticks. You got to get them down somehow without moving forward. Is this going to increase now? Yak and yards after contact in general.
I mean,
I think this is going to make it really difficult.
You already saw defenders shying away last year. Josh Allen against the Steelers, I think it was. He ran for like a 20-yard touchdown because nobody wanted to hit him. You're going to get fined. Lose your whole game check.
Yeah. I don't like
Boy,
this
I'll
one.
tell you, Patriots fans will go to great lengths to take down Josh Allen.
I don't like this one. Explain to me the kickoff rule. What's the new?
It's the XFL one. Paul might know it a bit better, but the kicker still kicks from the 35, and the teams are lined up, and you can't move until the ball.
Teams are lined up where?
Yeah, so you kick off from your own 35
Yeah.
as normal, but the rest of the kickoff team lines up at the opposing 35.
Right.
And 5 yards away is the receiving team, 9 of the 11 receiving teams.
Yep.
So there's 10 potential tacklers, 9 blockers, all lined up within 5 to 10 yards of each other.
Yep.
There are 2 returners that are back in the so-called landing zone. They have to have 2 returners. The ball has to be kicked into on the fly, so you can't squib it. You have to kick on the fly into the landing area, or you could choose to take a touchback, but the touchback goes out. If you fly it out of the end zone, it goes out to the 35,
right,
not the 25.
Right, so that's
changed. There's 3 levels of touchbacks.
Now, but that's an interesting point.
And no one can move until the ball is touched in the landing
In order
zone.
to get it at the 30, you have to kick it out of the end zone, not into the end zone. So you can still kick it into the end zone, right? And
I believe that's a different level of touchback.
Right,
yes.
and you can take a knee, and that would still come out to the 25.
I don't have the detail of that
because I know the rules specify out of the end zone.
It's written in my notes.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, something had to
read
be
it
done
on Patriots.com.
because I think the Super Bowl didn't have a single kickoff return, right? Like it was getting pretty
kickoffs kickoff returns were down to an all-time low with the new touchback rules. They wanted to do something to put the returns back in the game. If you watch some clips of the XFL, they show you how it works. The ball is kicked, and you can't the players can't move until it's either caught in the landing zone or touches down in the landing zone, which is like the 20 to the goal line.
Yeah.
So it prevents the long run-ups to to collisions. Those collisions.
My prediction will be, at least in this first year, until teams really kind of
and
figure
it is a 1 year.
There's going to be a lot of longer returns.
Yeah,
I think in this first year.
Yeah. Now I don't think that was the result in the XFL.
Well, they're not as good.
No, they got shut down. Was that COVID year? We got like 3 games of XFL.
No, like last year.
Oh, did they do it last year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Anyway, that's any other rule changes?
Any other rule changes?
I
Trade. It's not rule change. Trade deadline got pushed back.
Is that official?
Yeah, I got
Is
pushed
it
back.
1 week or
Week
2?
9. Whatever.
Week 9.
Yeah,
So it got
week
pushed
9.
back a week. I think
Makes
that's
sense.
a good alteration. There was a couple other things. They want to make the play clock expiration reviewable, which I don't like.
Oh, there is another change on the challenges.
Yes,
I like this change.
if you get them both right, you get a third. That's
Yeah.
always been the case. Now, if you get one of the two right, you get a third.
I like that. You shouldn't be penalized for
Correctly.
questioning the call and being
Yeah,
correct.
I agree.
You shouldn't lose it.
No, but you only lost it if you were wrong.
Right. That's fine. But if you're right, you lost it too in the past.
Right now, you get it no matter what,
Right.
right or wrong.
Oh,
You just can't be wrong twice.
I thought you had to be right to get it back. No? All right. Anyway,
No. You used to get
here we go.
a third one. So
You had to get
you're
both
allowed.
right.
Everybody's allowed 2 challenges.
That's correct.
If you get them both right before this year, if you got them both right,
You got a
were
third.
awarded a third. Now, if you get one right and one wrong, you're awarded a third.
Yeah.
That's what we need: more stoppages, more replay. Awesome.
No, we need better refs.
I
Well,
agree with that.
you know,
make them full-time
Oh,
employees.
and the other
I do
thing,
agree with more better refs.
And the other thing I like that they changed is now roughing the quarterback can be reviewed. I like that.
did not see
I didn't
that.
see that.
Yeah, I like
That
that.
needs to be done because
Yeah.
there's some bad ones. It happens to the Pats too. So
Yeah.
it goes
So
both ways.
grounding, intentional grounding in quarterback roughing can now be reviewed.
Interesting.
Okay.
Did they
Yeah.
fix the play clock yet?
I don't know.
I heard rumors of a buzzer being added or a tenth of a
Yeah.
second.
I kind of liked what they did. And I understand that the inconsistency of the way it's sort of ruled is the problem.
Yeah.
But I think what their line of thought several years ago when they changed the timing rules and it was immediately after a play, the 40-second clock starts. They wanted to get the games over in 3 hours. Remember, Fred?
Yeah.
But, Fred and I are old enough to remember when the games used to
Sure.
go on forever.
Count on it.
Right? So now they're very conscious of those TV windows and getting games in 3 hours. So they changed the timing rules. And I think as a result of that, there was sort of an unwritten sort of agreement. If it's really, really close to, if it's 0 snap, we're not going to call delay a game every time. We're going to let that little leeway. But what happens is it's 0, 1, 2,
Is that hot?
snap. And now, I think they're trying to uniform it a little bit. And I think if they go letter of the law, every time that clock goes to 0, it's delay a game, I think that'll be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that it's good that they give them a little leeway on that. They just have to be a little bit more consistent.
It's like the refs in basketball doing the 5 second. He's like, 1,
Yeah.
2.
Right.
And
it's like the 10 second to get it over half court. What saves them is, one guy would be like 1, 2, 3, and
Right.
But now the shot clock, you line it up with the shot clock. In the NBA, it's 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's hard for the ref to say, no, I had that at 8. Well, there's like 20 seconds on the shot clock. You didn't have that at 8 seconds.
Right.
All
right. Again, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. I see people on the phones, but there's no names written in. Jules. Oh, line 1 is Tim from Stowe. All right. Hey, Tim from Stowe. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to talk about the draft for a second as it relates to the Calvin Ridley
Sure.
non-signing, I guess.
Okay.
So I read just on Bleacher Report that a big factor for Robert Kraft was that the QB situation played a role in him not signing.
Yeah, he mentioned that. He said there could be a lot of factors. One of them could be we don't know who our QB is. Yeah, he said that. Yep.
Right.
What do you think?
And I think, well, I've heard a lot of people say, we should trade down. Like I read Tom Curran's article yesterday about trading down and accumulating picks, and I just am against it in the sense that when you look down the road and you look at the quarterbacks next year, they're not that great. And sure, somebody could come up, but somebody might not, and why take that chance? And I think, Deion Sanders' kid.
Yeah, but Tim, the only reason you should be against trading down is because you like Drake May and Jaden Daniels.
I agree.
That's the only reason
I do.
why you should be against it.
Yeah. And I'm with Tim.
I don't think you're going to. My point is I don't think you're going to get those quarterbacks in next year's draft. And now you're just
right.
Now it's a 2-year thing to find the quarterback.
But again,
fans are already impatient.
Again, forget about next year. If you like one of those two, if you like those two guys, you should take one of those two guys because, like you said,
I'm with you, Fred.
They're not going to be there next year.
And Tim, it's not about liking them, like it's not about liking Drake May more than the guys who will be available next year. It's liking Drake May enough to take him at 3.
That's it. That's it.
And I agree with Fred. I do. I like Daniels and May. That's why this J.J. McCarthy nonsense could be.
We have
be
to
great.
talk about that.
That could be great for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Because now it gives you an option that you didn't have.
Yeah.
But I would take him, like Mayo said on Monday. You know, if we take a quarterback at 3, that means we're convicted in that pick.
It's a big investment. If you like him, take him. You're at 3. Right. You hope you're not here again. Take him.
Yeah. Now I will say,
but I have to like him enough to take him.
Yeah, I agree.
Now I will say, people looking ahead to next year and they, the quarterback's not going to be good. I guarantee you, there will be a quarterback in 2024 in college will have a great year and he will rise up and all of a sudden he'll be regarded every bit as much as Jaden Daniels is this year.
Right, I'm going to take your bet.
Okay. You don't think a quarterback will rise?
No.
Okay.
Well, someone might rise, but it won't be like really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll bet you. I'll take that bet.
Just the last thing I wanted to say, and I'll get off, is just that my point is that I think both of those guys are worth the 3rd pick, and I think it's insanity that what people are saying about Drake May. I mean, if you watched him last year, not this past season, the 22-23 season, I mean, it is just so clear that guy is an elite talent. And thinking that he's not worth the 3rd pick is mind-boggling to me. Okay. It's insanity.
Yeah. And that's why you would take him and why you should take him.
And you would absolutely be convicted in the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think you're wrong. I just think there's a lot of people, and as you know, I'm keeping track. There's a lot of people who disagree. A lot of people think that Drake May can't play.
He's spot on because, I mean, before Jaden Daniels really hit the scene this year, it was really May and Williams 1 and 2.
Right.
We didn't know which
and
one was
Jaden
going to be
Daniels
1 and
is the
2.
example of what Fred's talking about. I don't think that happens every year.
Yeah.
It didn't happen the year before that.
It happens more and more.
Kenny Pickett was the only guy taken in the first round. He did not.
There was
he
nobody
did not
available.
Rise.
The draft, the media loves to hype up quarterbacks, especially when there's no quarterbacks in the class. And look what happened with the Malik Willis here.
Jules, who's on line 3? All right, Jasper, you're up.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
I'm hearing myself in this little feedback.
Sorry.
Thanks for making these lean years tolerable. I wanted to ask just a question about little short-term speculation. You know how Bill was kind of famous for being ahead of the curve with personnel, maybe play calling. Do you see, or what do you think is the kind of next fun new thing the next 2 to 3 years that's going to take the league by surprise? I just want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do a draft
question.
question.
And you'll do it offline.
Oh, what about his draft question?
Oh, sorry.
Does he mean like how
That's
the
a
Wildcat?
good GBL guy you hung
Does he
up
mean like
on
the
from
Wildcat
Somerville?
15 years ago or whatever it was?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, what do you think is the latest thing that took the league by storm? Before we, venture to guess what will be. What is? I think
the latest
for the
thing?
NFL. I think it's the mobile quarterback,
mobile
right?
QB.
Guys who can extend plays
okay.
and throw off platform.
He was thinking of like things like strategy wise that you don't see that come into play. You're talking about a style of
I
player.
don't know.
Just like a thing that took over. I would say mobile quarterbacks too. It was like I think Rodgers kind of started it, just the pocket passer and scrambling outside.
Because I was going to ask what the last thing, he said Bill was ahead of the curve with personnel and play calling. What's going to be the next thing? I was going to ask what the last thing was, but you guys are taking it, and I think you're right. Like the mobile quarterback who can throw, the more dual threat guys seem to be definitely more in vogue now than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd say that, and then the tight ends that are pretty much just receivers, i.e. Travis Kelce.
Well, I mean, that's been going on for a while.
Antonio
I
Gates,
think there
Tony
might be
Gonzalez.
more of them now, but Russ Francis, Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, Francis could block. Don't make fun of
Yeah.
the Patriots.
Yeah, that's
Don't
true.
make fun of Patriots guys.
Yeah, every once in a while.
They'll get mad at you on social, right, Alex?
But so what's the next thing? What if you're looking ahead at evolution of the game, what do you think is the next?
I don't know.
I thought it was so funny after our game that Schooler kind of jumped the line. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is gonna revolutionize special teams now," and then it just didn't happen. It was just that one moment.
Now, do you have, in order to really see the future, do you have to look at college, or even even high school? Do you have to look at what's going on there to kind of figure out what might happen with the pros, because that's where the talent's coming from?
I think there's some truth to that, and I would put things like the smaller mobile linebackers, is kind of a thing that you saw in college, is like 230-pound linebackers, which you never would have seen 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now there's more guys like that, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, those kinds of guys that are a little bit undersized for the position, but they get by because they're so athletic.
Who was I heard on the radio, I forget which station, it was a former player, and he was saying that a lot of the former players now that have kids or even grandkids that are playing, and they're really good athletes, they're telling them, don't be a receiver, be a cornerback, because
don't be a running back.
You go to these camps, and there'll be like 20 kids trying to be a receiver, and there's 5 kids that want to be cornerback. And there's a lot, if you're really good, there's a lot better chance for you to make it as a cornerback, numbers-wise, than a wide receiver these days. So
That's interesting. You hear that at your clinic? Is that what you said?
No. I heard it on the radio. So like Asante Samuels, like a lot of these sons and grandsons of players are cornerbacks these days.
Interesting.
Because their father is smart.
And you get more reps.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, those guys, I'm thinking of like Winfield, Samuel, but their fathers were defensive backs too.
Yeah.
I keep going back to the hip drop tackle. I just want to see how that's going to change how defenses prepare.
I guarantee it's going to be, was that a hip drop or wasn't it a hip drop? And,
So-
and there'll be a whole thing about interpreting what is
I
a
think
hip
that's
drop.
I think that's a great point. I've watched. They've put out film. There's a lot of reels of these hits, and I'm like looking. I was like, what's the difference between that one and that? Like, they're supposedly showing you good and bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really see a lot of difference.
The screen grab of what they showed at the owners meeting, being like, this is banned now, and I'm like, that is a form tackle. So what are we going to do here?
Can't hit him high. Can't hit him low. Can't hit him in the middle.
Right.
And then somebody's gonna blow their knee out like Hawkinson did, and the player's gonna get labeled a dirty player, and then that defender's gonna be like, what am I supposed to do?
The next one is you can't pull from the pants from behind because you might show his ass.
Get the
His pants might
flags
come
out.
down.
Get the flags out.
I know.
So that's a point on the NFL side, the horse collar.
Yeah, I mean
Because that was a hue and cry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
There
can
was-
understand that one.
But at the time, everybody was like, what are you supposed to do? You're
Yeah.
chasing the guy down.
Yeah.
You can't grab. But I think when you start stacking these things together,
Yeah.
So they said, that's a dangerous play. You grab a guy by the nameplate, you pull him backwards. It was causing leg problems, ankle injuries, high ankle sprains, right? So we took that out. Now, what's your recourse? If you're chasing the guy from behind, it's a shoestring tackle and that's it?
Yeah.
I just have to dive and hope that I trip him?
Yeah.
And to your point, if I do trip him and I'm successful, the guy's getting 6 extra yards because he's stumbling forward. And, so I have no chance to, like, tackle him for no more yards than he's already gotten.
Yeah.
But the horse collar thing was definitely big. Again, Fred and I are old enough to remember when this was enacted, like in 05-ish. Everybody was like, this is going to be ridiculous. There's going to be penalty. And they adjusted.
Yeah.
They figured it out. My guess is they'll figure this out, too. I just wonder how you're ever going to tackle anybody.
Yeah. I also wonder how they're going to enforce it. Such like a split-second decision for the defender. It's also for the ref. So, I don't know. I hope they're...
Sounds like their plan is to enforce it during the week with fines.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with flags.
Ugh. Yeah. That's bad.
All right. Let's get to some of these emails. Let's see. There's a lot of emails coming in. A lot of emails.
I'll read some.
Lee says, thank you, especially to Paul, for pointing out the ridiculous hyping of each signing. It struck me last year that nearly everyone said trading Myers to the Raiders and replacing him with Juju was an upgrade. I think even on the show, some tried to say it was a small upgrade. and I couldn't understand why we do this when Myers knew the system other than him speaking out seemed to be the reason to let him leave. Can you explain the international path? Oh, so this is a separate thing. First, so he's just thanking Paul on the first one.
I mean, I think more people should do that.
Yeah. Second question is, can you explain the international pathway for me and how teams select players? Is it separate to the draft? Would we have to pick
Yes.
three,
I think
or
you're
is it
assigned
just
a player, aren't
players
you?
trying to find a team that will open a spot for them? No, I think the league identifies certain players that they assign to a team. The team puts them on, like, I think they at least have to put them on the practice squad.
There's something with the roster spot, right?
Yeah, for 2 years.
It doesn't count against your 90-man roster.
Yeah.
But if you make the team, it counts.
Yeah. And then you can, after 2 years, for 2 years it doesn't count, and then after 2 years you can elect to keep him or.
And that's what happened with Jakob Johnson.
We had Jakob Johnson. We signed it. He played after that.
Yeah.
He earned a legitimate roster spot.
There are 2 rugby players from Fiji, I think, that are making some noise. So that's probably where it comes up from.
This is my life. Rugby players from Fiji.
They know how to tackle though. So.
Well, I don't know. They might not.
Travis in West Virginia, I wrote in last week complaining that every show is the same because you just keep talking about the same subjects over and over.
This is a
it
very
truly
valid
is
criticism.
Groundhog Day. The best part is that Fred actually read my email and offered an explanation and was quite gracious about it. You could have just told me to F off or not even read the email in the first place, so I really appreciate it. I'm glad you just don't read the butt-kissing emails. We're talking about the draft a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of
because
truth
we
to
have the
that.
third pick.
Yeah.
We haven't had that.
But do you feel, and I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't be talking about it because obviously that's the number one thing, but don't you feel like there's a little bit of fatigue on that? Are they going to take the quarterback? Well, if they like the one, which one?
Yeah.
Which one do you like?
We do get asked the same question over and over again, and I get it.
I do too. It just it makes for, I think, kind of some monotonous
at least
shows.
Some new stuff's coming up because the Bears got rid of Fields, so Caleb's locked in there, and now we got J.J. McCarthy rising up to the top, so that might.
But to me, it's all the same.
Oh, it is all the same.
Which quarterback do you like? Which one do you think they'll take a quarterback?
This is my least favorite part about the season.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's not like that all the time. It's exciting to have the third pick, but I think the excitement is which quarterback are you going to take? And now at this point, it's can we just get to April whatever and pick one?
It's 12:52, so I think we've talked about draft for 5 minutes so far this show. I mean, we've talked about other things.
No, I'm talking about this has been our show since November.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's like you were making fun of me.
Welcome to 4 and 13.
No, but Fred, I didn't say that we should have a different show. We shouldn't. I mean, this is this is our show. We have the third pick. Robert Kraft has made it that comment many times. They've never been in this spot.
Yeah.
So what else are you going to talk about other than what are you going to do with the third overall pick?
Ron,
I just feel like it has been a little monotonous.
Ron in Conway, New Hampshire. As I listened to your show today, I, as a 40-plus-year-old fan, or 40-plus-year fan, not 40-year-old, he's been a fan for over 40 years, am one of the fans who is anxious to see what this year brings. In fact, I haven't been this excited since 1993. I agree, all this negativity from media people like Greg Bedard, Felger, Maz, and a few more too, is downright disrespectful. I'm not saying that no one's opinion doesn't matter, but...
No, you kind of are.
But, geez, it's a total freaking rebuild from the ground up. Take a friggin' pill and relax. As far as being a disaster, that's a farce. We haven't even assembled an entire team yet. It's crap like this that causes certain media journalists to put them in a bad light. I don't know. And as far as Mayo, he's speaking like a player, not a coach, simply because he's never done it. Anyway, just my opinion, which matters little. I'm not sure, Fred, how you, Paul, Evan, and Deuce, and your entire crew of the show do it every day. As far as free agents, to be honest, free agents want either big money or big chasers or both. Ridley didn't want to be here for a total rebuild. Have a great day. Okay. That's fine. Todd says, labeling the team a disaster is his subject line. The media will talk this way because negativity sells, gets ratings, and sparks opinions and responses on the talk shows. Very rarely talk extensively. They, I don't know, something about when things are good. You got to proofread your emails.
I would tell people to go back to the mid-2000s and tell me the ratings compared to now. when they were winning titles in every sport.
Right.
Don't tell me negativity is the only thing that sells.
Right. Well, back then it was defend the wall.
No, but I'm just saying.
So you attack anyone that comes after
The
you.
ratings in this area for sports are enormous.
Yeah.
This is a very passionate sports base. Positive, negative, in between. It's people don't think that, and I'm not speaking for everybody. Like maybe Andrew Callahan, evidently he wrote something today that's really negative because I heard from somebody within the organization asking me if I had seen it. I didn't. So I'm not aware of what he wrote. Maybe he does it for what Alex is saying. Maybe he's looking to get that negative reaction and he's trying to play that role. But
well, you can talk about when times were good and the ratings were great too. But like we've never had really since like 2014ish where narratives can really be created on social media, and like a lot of people, they just read what they see on Twitter and that's what they think is going on with the team. Less people are actually reading full stories. Less people are like
that I wholeheartedly agree with, because people despite the fact that more and more information is available,
yes,
people are less informed than ever.
It's never been more dumbed down for people.
She's having a good show.
Thanks. Too bad I'm only
Alex
here for the first half.
Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go eat. And then one more. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game or you're Otani, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. You hear that? Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050, or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Let's go to the break.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
What's up, everybody? Head coach Gerard Mayo addressed the media yesterday at the NFL's annual league meetings in Orlando. Let's hear what he had to say.
Fire away.
Maybe just start with that. I mean, is there a clarity that you would begin with?
The clarity I would begin with is free agency. Obviously, the media, the fans, everyone wants that big signing. But at the same time, as we continue to put this team together, I think there has to be a process. It has to be a methodical process. And look, when there is a guy that we want to get, the Crafts have already told us like they'll spend the money. And I would say offensively this year we were very picky as far as the players that we were getting. And at the same time, that wasn't really a deep offensive free agent class to even make that type of splash. Now, we're saying that the draft is coming up. There will still be conversations as far as trades and things like that, and guys will be released. So this is a process that's going to go on all the way until after the draft.
Is it frustrating at all to have the conversation of, well, we're going to do a number of things to weaponize the offense and then get to the store and say, well, the shelves aren't really stocked with the things we need?
Yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, but at the same time, I think one of the number one priorities we had was to sign our players back. And I think, it's not a popular pick to sign an offensive lineman to a big deal, but at the same time, he's a critical piece to our team. And look, we want to take care of our own. And I think that was really the strategy going into it. Now, look, we did have targets that we wanted, that it just didn't work out. But when it's all said and done, we want guys that want to be a part of this process, want to be a part of the next chapter in New England history.
Gerard, a lot of people have sort of clung on to your statement about burn some cash. Do you regret that?
No, I don't regret it. Look, I'm a first-year head coach. I didn't mean like burn some cash. I know we have a lot of cash to utilize, but we are going to utilize it the right way. We have to be very convicted when we do spend that cash, but ownership has done a good job just letting Elliot and I know that we have the cash to spend. Just try to spend it smart.
Gerard.
Hey.
When you look at your team, do you consider it a 4-win team? Or, as Bill Parcells would say, you are what your record says you are?
Yeah, honestly, this team is going to look different than last year's team. Even if you were to look at last year, I would say there were opportunities to win more than 4 games, and we just fell short. Look, we'll see as the team continues to come together how many wins. I can't give you a prediction on how many wins we'll have, but what I will say is that we'll put a competitive team out there on the field, and look, not only on the field, but also off the field, and that's what we're trying to do here in New England.
When you look at the roster, it looks like there's still some needs at quarterback, tackle, and wide receiver. Are you confident you guys can still fill those before the season?
I'm confident that, we can absolutely fill those roles. In saying that, though, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Look, our philosophy as far as putting this roster together, look, you want to draft and develop. When it's all said and done, you want to draft and develop. And I have 100% confidence in Elliott and his staff weaponizing the offense and really getting us better as an overall team. I know everyone wants to talk about the offense, but one thing that you guys have heard from BB and that I've learned from Bill was, just that all 3 phases are very important, and playing that complementary football is definitely something that Elliott understands, I understand, and the rest of the staff.
How many pressure do you feel there is on this draft class? We're talking about filling needs, left tackle, receiver, quarterback. Those are 3 big needs that can be tough to fill. How much pressure is on this 24 class?
Honestly, I don't fear those 3 positions that you just spoke of. I would say this draft has quite a few guys that can fill those roles. And look, we sit at a very enviable spot at number 3 where we could take someone at 3, or if someone offers a bag, as we would say, a lot of first-round picks, we definitely have to talk about those things as we continue to put together this team. You said it. There are holes on this team, but I would also say there will be people available going forward to fill those holes.
Sorry, so just to confirm, you guys are open to trading number 3. And Elliott not being here, does that complicate matters at all?
The crazy thing, look, we are open. We're open to, trading the pick. We're open to taking a guy there. And look, the crazy thing is we have telephones at this point. Elliott didn't come because he's doing a lot of work back home. And I don't say that to be disrespectful, but what I would say is he's doing a lot. He's working, and his staff is working through the weekends, and honestly, I would rather him be doing that than be sitting here right now.
Sorry, Nicole, you go.
When you look at how Mac's tenure with the Patriots ended, what did you learn from that experience, and what sort of things will you apply as you look forward to potentially drafting another quarterback?
Yeah, Mac Jones came in and had a lot of success early on. We always talk about that jump from year 1 to year 2 and how significant that year is, or that bridge is to year 2. And I would say it was a combination of things, that really kind of hindered that growth in the second year. One thing I did learn about that process was, as you continue to develop a quarterback, it's not only the players you put around them, but also the coaches that you put around this guy. Not only the coaches, but it can go all the way to the ops teams and things like that to support a guy who plays the most important position in sports, and to ask him as a rookie to come in is always going to be tough. And then you get to year 2, you want to see that jump. You get to year 3, you would want to see success like this, just straight line. But realistically, that's not what it is. It's like a bunch of ups and downs. And I think just supporting a quarterback is one of the biggest things. And I would also say this, bring a guy like Jacoby in. Look, he's definitely a starter in this league, and I would also say he's a good mentor to quarterbacks across the league.
Do you feel that the roster and the staff as currently constructed is ready to support a rookie quarterback?
100%. I feel very good about the staff that we have. We have guys, TC and AVP and even McAdoo, all guys that bring a certain skill set to the quarterback position. Now, the balance is, look, he needs to hear that one voice. And what happens sometimes with younger quarterbacks, they have their quarterback guru, they have their coach, their quarterback coach. Most offensive coordinators are quarterback coaches. So, look, those guys have worked together in the past, and they're on the same page to support any quarterback that we bring in.
What do you like about Drake May in the time you spent with him?
Yeah, look, Drake May had a fantastic interview at the Combine. He brings a lot of energy. You can tell he has that leadership ability. And, also the exciting part about a guy like Drake May is the ceiling. Like, there is really no ceiling with a guy like that. Now, in saying that, when we're trying to put together this roster, I know a lot of people look at the ceiling, but you also got to kind of see how low is the floor. How low is the floor? And I would say a guy like Drake May, he has a lot of room to grow. He's a young guy. Honestly, he hasn't played football nearly as much as these other guys, so that's definitely something that we've looked at. But he definitely is going to develop.
But in keeping with that, when you're at 3 overall and it's a draft like it is this year, you could have an opportunity to, instead of having a guy with a high ceiling who might need work, even though he's really good, you could move down and hit 2 other spots in the first round, wide receiver, left tackle.
That's right. That 100%. I know everyone likes to think they have the special formula to picking players, but honestly, the guaranteed way to win is to accumulate more picks. And so if we don't feel convicted at number 3, to your point, like, we are willing to do that as well.
Since we asked you about Drake May, I feel like we also have to ask you about Jaden Daniels. Have you met with him? What was it like? What do you think so far?
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels, I was on the Zoom with him. I met him before. Look, those guys have pro days coming up here soon. So when you think about the process, like, when I leave here, I'm going to LSU, and then when I leave LSU, I'm going to Carolina before I get back home. But you have to do your due diligence. And once again, it's not all about me. It's not all about Elliott. What you guys have heard me say a lot is about collaboration. And one thing that Alonzo Highsmith, one of our scouts, told me, and I truly believe it, he's been doing it for a long time, and he said all the bad picks that he's seen, it's really been where everyone wasn't on the same page. And you would hope that, you could get everyone on the same page, coaches and also scouts. If you have one person, drafting, that's kind of tough.
Gerard, you talked about quarterbacks at the number 3 pick. Do you view that as being a 3-man race at quarterback, or is J.J. McCarthy part of that conversation as well?
Oh, look, let me tell you, when I first started watching these guys, it was that 3-man race. And now, as you continue to, go to these, the pro days and bringing guys in on the 30 visits and having time to spend with those guys to really get to know what makes them tick. I mean, it's about 5 guys, honestly, that could come in and be a solid quarterback in the future.
Gerard, you're the head coach. You're going to have a say.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
I'm going to push back here on everybody. What does everybody have against Robbie Anderson?
He's never made an important catch in his career.
Like, against us, he's done well.
When?
Oh, I remember games.
Here we go. Andy Isabella,
don't
part 2.
Don't make me go to my phone.
Oh, go.
Deuce, you have a computer there.
You might know the answer to this.
He's a thoroughly average player who is...
He's like a David Givens type, isn't he?
Yeah, I have no interest in David Givens right now. Either.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, right now, no, but yeah.
They need a number 1 receiver. David Givens isn't that.
No, and I don't think Robbie Anderson is either.
No.
But
that's why I'm not interested.
They have
I got
plenty
3 of those.
But he's not going to get number 1 money, is he?
Of course he is.
You think so?
That's what he makes. Why do you think he's on the block?
Okay.
So you guys want to hear about
Thanks
Robbie
for the
Anderson?
kind words.
Oh, please do, because I have them.
Prolific career.
There was one reasonably good game.
There was one reasonably good game where he was targeted 12 times and had 4 catches for 76 yards.
That is the apex.
Ready, here we go. 2 for 34, none for none, 1 for 2, 3 for 24, 3 for 11, 1 for 10, and 1 for 2. He is 0-9 career against the Patriots.
Man.
He's had...
Maybe I'm thinking of Wayne Corbett.
That's another great moment from
All right.
Fred's ability to just move on, turn the page. It's awesome.
Back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Alex has left us.
Yes.
She's got things to do.
Got things.
Okay. It's Matisse,
She
Paul,
had a strong
myself.
show, too.
Yeah.
I told her.
Yep,
during
good
the break.
addition.
And
It's
then,
the most,
and then she folded.
That's the most. That's the most I've heard her talk. So maybe it's all because of Evan. When
Could
Evan's
be.
here, no one else talks.
Oh, there's not a lot of oxygen when Evan's here. So, Tree Hugger in Oregon writes in. Haven't heard from him in a
Tree
while.
Hugger.
Gerard Mayo told the Patriots Nation to be patient. Does that mean, 1, we are picking a QB at 3, but we aren't going to just throw him to the wolves? He may sit out the bulk of the season. Or 2, we are trading down and building talent at tackle and wide receiver this year. We'll get our quarterback of the future next year. I don't know why it has to be either one of those.
I don't think it means either one of those things.
Right.
I agree. I think it means like we went 4-13, probably not going to go 13-4 in the first year.
Yeah.
Be patient. We're going to try to build it. I take exception to some of the phrases, like the one that he used yesterday, the right way.
Right.
Like that kind of, what's the right way?
Yeah.
And why? And anybody who doesn't do it that way, why are they not doing it the right way?
I think what he means is we're not going to force anything. You don't know what other teams are going to do too, and that affects what you do. And
No,
so
but my point is, whatever way you choose to do it, doesn't make it right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's the way you choose to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep. He has a question for Evan, which I won't read because Evan is not here. Neil writes in, or actually, it says Neil.
What
but
makes you think I couldn't talk about the weak side linebacker out of out of the
says
whack?
It's Jeffrey from Canada. There's no reason to debate Mayor Daniels. That's probably a big topic on Commanders Talk Weekly. But the Patriots are getting who the Commanders don't take. That's thanks to that lovely, meaningless win on Christmas Eve that we were all told we should enjoy because the real fans don't cheer for losses. I was not a real fan that night. I wanted them to lose and get to pick their quarterback. I don't fault the team for competing. I just wish the Broncos could have pulled off the comeback. That's why
I get it.
I
get that.
That's why if I'm the Patriots GM, I take a fair trade back if possible or take best player on your board who's available. If that's the third quarterback, fine. But if it's a left tackle, a wide receiver, stick to your board and take that player. Don't reach. We're building from ground up, and quarterback is important, no doubt, but it's not the only piece needed.
I get the mentality of, you won a couple of games down the stretch and it cost you a spot. You could have gotten 2 instead of 3. I get that. I understand why some people will be frustrated, but he also answered it. I thought, you can't ask them not to compete.
It's like these guys might not be here next year. They got to go win. Like if a player had a
you
good,
you can't ask the players to think like that.
So have somebody take their job potentially. Like
the other part, if you want to trade down because you want to add picks and do it that way, I think, I've said this many times. I think there's a lot of it's a lot on that side of the ledger to be interested in. I don't want to trade down to take a guy. Instead of taking Drake May at 3, I'm going to get someone else, Drake May at 11, or someone else at 11 at that position.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Like if I think the quarterback's good enough to 3, it's a little strong. Now, if I can get 2 extra first-round picks and then get the same guy, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different. I'm just talking about the player itself. I don't want to reach.
And the other,
if you don't think he's worthy of the 3rd pick, you don't think he's worthy of the 11th pick either.
And the other thing that really bothers me is people say, "Oh, J.J. McCarthy, maybe you like him, but you can't take him with the 2nd or 3rd pick." No, if you like him, you take him when he's available and when you can get him. Doesn't matter if it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. If you like J.J. McCarthy and you think he's going to be your franchise quarterback, you take him when it's your turn to take him. Period. That's.
I see that both sides. I'm not sure on that one. Because I think the guy, as recently as a week and a half ago, was considered a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah. I know, but I'm just saying, all this time, if, you were just laying low in the bushes, and even, 2 months ago, you love J.J. McCarthy, you should take him whenever you have your first pick.
So what the Bears did with Mitch Trubisky?
Well, they made a mistake.
But they loved him, so if you love him, take him.
If you love him, take him.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
At that position,
yeah.
quarterback.
But what if I'm trying to think of an example that fits, and Brady doesn't fit. That's unfortunate. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to.
We'll have the show screech to a halt again.
Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Deuce.
Hi, guys.
What's happening? Oh, he's so sad. He's in
Oh,
Orlando.
nothing.
He's so sad. What's going on?
Just trying to grind the show to a halt,
Well, you do a good job, but don't worry about it.
We saw you had a prime position for the owner today. You're in a lot of shots.
A lot of smiles. I saw you in the back.
So,
Yep.
yeah, that's the goal, just to get as much screen time as possible. I love it.
I saw though Giardi elbowed you out of the way though.
Well, Giardi has a
Giardi
knack.
was- yeah.
Prime spot. You can't get that spot on Giardi.
Yeah.
But just so you know, Wally Pipp, you got Wally pipped today by Matisse.
Yeah.
You're out.
Sorry.
You're out. You're out, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a Welker and said he can have it. He's going to have to fight me for it.
Okay. Only one F-bomb dropped by Tease, too. That was off air.
We edited it out.
So what's this?
We'll get it in post.
What's the scuttlebutt at the owners' meeting?
Oh, lots of stuff. I mean, I guess starting with the Patriots, I think you guys have been listening a little bit. You guys have been covering it. But, yeah, the patience thing, I mean, that's, what it is. I think they're trying to be methodical. They pointed out, they took a swing at Ridley and, trying to be selective with some of the things that they're trying to do. But, I think it's hard to preach that right now. And, in talking with some of the other Patriot media members here, it's definitely, just a lot of vitriol out there from Patriots fans right now. And I think that was a big topic of discussion with all the different media members that I talked to, just very angry people out there. So it's hard to go out there preaching patience to these people who, seemingly have their torches
I
lit.
remember when Bill was here, people would get angry when they didn't sign anybody in the first 10 days of free agency.
Right.
That's nothing new there. But
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Like it is nothing new, but
Yeah.
for some reason it's unfair.
But I understand now it's more urgent because you don't have Tom Brady. You're further away. You have more holes. You have more money.
The fans don't look at it as Gerard Mayo is just starting. Fans are looking at it as this is year 5.
Right. Right. But when the reporters don't have the mic in their hands or their laptop open, are they as angry as they're coming off at the Patriots so far inactivity?
I don't know if angry is the right word. I definitely think there are a variety of people that cover the team that have kind of passionate takes. Definitely Tommy Curran is on the trail of they got to trade down. And, I respect his dedication to that.
Well, he doesn't like the quarterbacks then, right?
I guess. I mean, I was talking to him, beforehand, and then you heard him, ask Mayo specifically. They just played it in the clip that you guys were running during halftime there. So, you could kind of tell what he was getting at with that. But, no, I don't sense a lot of anger. I think that, people generally seem to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I think the reaction to it is kind of spurring kind of this, negative energy that seems a little bit overwhelming.
Well, is the whole thing a debacle because Gerard Mayo spilled his orange juice? Because I'm reading that.
No, but I have to say, I mean, I did appreciate Gerard kind of doing that, and then and then he spilled it. It just it seemed kind of symbolic of how things have gone.
Karma,
not you.
When you make fun of the glorious past and then you spill it.
Et tu, Douce?
Exactly, but I one thing I just wanted to bring up though that I thought was interesting today from Robert was just reaffirming that after the draft that they are going to kind of recalibrate a little bit perhaps. So I thought that was interesting coming out of the combine with Elliott Wolf being saying that he had final decision. I kind of felt like that sign was pointing towards he's kind of locked into this spot, but I think Mr. Kraft reaffirming today that they are going to take a look at things depending on how the draft goes. So that was an interesting nugget. I didn't think got a lot of play, at least from what I've seen so far.
Well, it was interesting in Mayo's thing yesterday. I don't know if it was a slip up, but he said, we don't know what kind of GM Elliott's going to be or whatever role he plays. So like he kind of slipped up and said GM when he doesn't really have that title yet.
Funny you said that, Fred, because when he was speaking, and I could tell that he was kind of searching for what to call him, and you could almost see on his face him calling GM and that saying or whatever he is, so it definitely is a little bit awkward. I mean, it made me think like if the draft goes well and there's good excitement and we feel like they hit, maybe they do make it Elliott Wolf officially.
Well,
GM.
It'll be interesting. Like I agree that I think they're going to reevaluate after the draft. But But I wonder, like, what's the criteria by which they're going to make decisions?
Exactly. They're going to pick.
Right.
They're going to pick 8 guys, and
Right.
then they're going to determine on May 3rd that they were the right 8 guys.
Well, is it more like, is Robert and Jonathan Kraft going to be in the war room watching? What's the comportment like? How do they wheel deal? Did they get the upper hand in trades or things like that? I'm wondering, like, what's the criteria? Because we can't really judge the players.
Right.
Because
I don't think you can judge that stuff either. I mean, if you felt like, to your point, like if you felt like, wow, these guys don't have a clue. They're frazzled.
Right.
They're nervous. Like, that would shine,
Yeah.
I guess.
But then what are you going to do?
But, like, I'm on the phone with Matisse, and I'm like, hey, we're thinking about making a move here, and someone's on the whiteboard, this round and that round, and we're getting good value here. Let's pull the trick. Like, you're evaluating off of that?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I agree with Mike. I think it was interesting that Robert, sort of threw that in there. And I do wonder if it's just not final.
Yeah.
Like, this is just like everybody else that does this. These guys are in place because they were already doing all the work. And when the draft is over, they might make a change.
But to whom? Or to who?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Right.
Wolf. I think Wolf is going to stay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if some other guys
Yeah.
are gone.
Yeah.
Like Matt Groh.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought Mayo's mention of Alonzo Highsmith yesterday too was interesting. We haven't, really not a guy that's been highlighted a lot, but somebody who has a lot of experience with all this stuff. So he's one name. I wonder maybe he's in the mix for something more significant than he already is, perhaps. But
Interesting.
I keep going back to the way they've been talking about it. Robert today saying like the young guys, like they're being collaborative. They it seems like they're all in sync right now. So maybe they do like the way it's set up. But I mean, for me, who else other than Elliot Wolf? I mean, he's kind of been groomed for this since he was a kid. He's been in the program for a couple of years. He's had a chance to assess what's going on. So, I just think all signs continue to point to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. The fact that he felt comfortable enough to say, I have final say, I mean, that's all you need to know right there, right? What else? Any rule change talk? I mean, we went over what the rule changes are, but, like, are people outraged about the hip drop?
I mean, I think it's a little bit mixed. Actually, I went and listened to Dan Campbell today, who's always entertaining, of course, as I floated around some of the NFC tables. And, he said he actually had his mind changed in the NFL's presentation of it. And, he presented both sides of it. I mean, the challenge of the defensive players having to adjust to this. And, I mean, I've seen plenty of clips. I mean, I was sitting there yesterday kind of talking to our group, being like, if there's a guy running kind of just out of your reach, diagonally across you, like, you can't grab his waist. It's really hard. And, you saw some examples of those. But I think it's one of those things that's balanced, that you have some of the players who've been injured, though, you saw some outrage for them. But I think the coaches, tend to understand, and certainly the competition committee wants to try to do their best to get rid of it. It's just going to come down to how's it legislated, and are the refs, going to have to make these gray area judgment calls. They're saying they want it to be clear, and it has, like a penalty shot in hockey, you have like a certain 5 things that have to be satisfied. But it's just, again, you're asking a lot of the refs, and we know that it's not always easy to get for them to get it right under the the fire of an NFL game. So I'm kind of intrigued by the NFL kickoff, though. I haven't seen a lot of outright by that, except for maybe certain former Patriots special teamers that have a prominent voice on Twitter. But otherwise, I think people are kind of interested to see that play potentially become more impactful. And I wonder if somebody like Marcus Jones coming back, if that gives the Patriots a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, my prediction this year is that you're going to see a lot of.
I'm going to go the other way.
At least for this year, until teams figure it out, you're going to see a lot of longer returns.
I think it's going to be very hard to break past. Now, there'll be. Yeah. If you do, I think you're gone.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very hard to get by 10 guys who are already in place to make a tackle 10, 15 yards away from the ball.
I wonder if now you'll see some more, like if people start to break through, if maybe you see some more like star players back there. If you got a burner back there and you might be able to break free. It might
less
switch
chance
up
of getting injured, so put them back there.
I was thinking some opening the door for some trick plays.
Yeah.
With returns, reverses, and maybe throwbacks and stuff.
I'll bet you if Bill was in the league right now as a coach, he'd be looking at this right now, and he would.
Unfortunately, you're right. He would have spent the whole offseason doing that instead of worrying about offense.
But he would come up with some ways to exploit
I'm allowed
this.
to take shots at that.
You know. Anyway, Deuce, have you had it? And any hobnobbing at night? Any like parties with like VVIPs?
Oh, last night was the big party. I would say the biggest hobnob was our friend Nicolette, who ran into Kristen Juszczyk and basically just jumped on her. She was very excited to see her. But, otherwise, just the usual suspects. Talked to McCourty for a little bit last night. He was there. No socks. I got one funny story after this. But Matt Smith, saw him and was like, what are you doing here? He's like, I don't really know. So, but then one other funny thing that you guys will appreciate was, they have the little giveaway area, and they had socks. They were giving away all team socks, and like what kind of socks do you want? I'm like, well, I got to get the Patriots socks. So I got 2 pair, and I'm walking out, and I turned to Matt Smith and said, oh, Matt, did you get any socks? And he said, no, I'm not a socks guy.
Right.
I don't wear socks.
It's no socks.
So I laughed.
Yeah.
Did you get a swag bag for Uncle Paul? No.
Oh yeah.
No, that's.
Oh,
okay.
I got you covered.
That's okay, bro.
Got you a Speedo.
Lot of shrimp cocktail.
No, Fred. That's indie. No, we're mostly the brunch at the hotel and stuff. So kind of eat on the fly these days.
Okay.
And heading to the airport soon, grab some airport food, and excited I'll be back tomorrow.
You guys gonna take a trip to Disney tonight, just to?
I'm out. I'm out in about 3 hours.
Oh, okay. All right.
Way back to Foxborough.
Well, Deuce, we'll see you when you get back here.
All right, guys.
All right.
Safe travels,
See
Deuce.
ya.
Mike Dussault,
See you, bro.
coming to you from the owners' meeting in Orlando.
Yeah.
Okay.
No socks.
Yeah.
Didn't need any extra socks. 'Cause he doesn't wear them.
Wild move.
Yeah. You should just look at him. My name.
Sorry.
Let's go to Eldred on line 3. What's up, Eldred? Oh boy!
Hey, fellas, how
three
y'all
people
doing?
just ran off the road.
How we doing?
Yeah, I just scared one old lady.
Hey! In all seriousness, I don't want to bring it down, but man, when you read that story about Maryland, the bridge, does that freak you out as someone who's on the road all the time?
So what now?
When you read the story about the bridge collapsing, did that freak you out as a truck driver?
Oh yeah. Always. Always.
Yeah.
Not bring heart, tragedy to it, but one of my fellow employees, he was driving in Texas, I think, and he went under a bridge and it collapsed and it killed him.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Crushed him right there with
Yep.
the truck. Yeah.
Wow.
And about a couple other people. Yeah. Yeah. So I get very leery when they work on bridges. I try to get me a route away from it.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on.
No, I hear you. I was just thinking about you when I heard that. It's like, oh, Eldred's out there. Yeah. All right. So what do you got?
Question. What happened to what's his name? Bolden was the cornerback that we
Isaiah
had.
Bolden.
He got hurt or something. He's out for the whole year.
Isaiah Bolden.
What happened? Isaiah.
Yeah.
Because-
He's still on the roster.
Is he still injured?
What made you think
Oh,
of him?
No, I don't think he's still injured.
What made me think of him? Because he was coming on pretty good with him and Gonzo. I think for the outside, for the size and length and speed. But I don't know. It looked like he got Foxborough flu, and then you ain't seen him no more.
He got that
concussion.
Yeah, the head injury in
Green Bay. He got stretchered off. They canceled the game.
Yeah, they ended the
Right.
game.
Green Bay.
Yeah, he was stretchered off the field.
They were like, that's
Good
it.
job.
We're done. Yeah.
Okay,
And then-
that's right. He did do. I
Yeah,
forgot
it
about
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a Foxborough flu situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Okay, so he's hurt real bad. So anybody heard anything from him, injury wise?
No.
Recovery.
I have not, but I think he got a concussion. So I don't. I mean,
So
not-
he, yeah.
I think if it was
Well,
something that
I
was
was just wondering about the corner.
ongoing, we'd know. I think he'll be part of the
Well,
off-season program and all
Safe-
that stuff.
I think that's safe to assume.
Yeah, April 8th, by the
I
way.
hope so.
The
Hey,
off-season
great.
program
Okay, I hope
starts.
so too. But I wish I know it's a new year, new era in football, but football is football. if you want to take everything out of football, you might well take the pads off the guys and give them flags.
I think that's where they're going.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you.
Because
50 years?
It's always been a contact sport, even back in the 40s and the 50s and the 30s.
Well, it was probably more back then.
Yeah, a whole lot more back then.
Yeah.
But it was football. That's why we like playing it back in the day. But it's just too many rules. You can't stop defense from doing this and offense from doing it, but mainly defense.
Right.
So I don't know.
Juwan Bentley
Well,
was
that's all
not
I got.
happy yesterday.
Y'all have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Elder.
Thanks, Big E.
All right.
Back in the turn of the century, football was such a violent sport that Teddy Roosevelt, I think, had to. They're playing in college, had to step in and say, "You got to change the rules
sort this
here."
out.
Yeah.
Well, people were dying.
Yeah.
No, I agree with him though. It's going to be interesting to see what the league's like in 15 years because look how much has just changed in the past 10. So
yeah,
how much more can you change
Well,
before you take the pads off?
They want to keep getting closer to video games.
Yeah.
Alex in Mount Holly just wanted to say thank you to Paul for stepping in from 2 to 6 yesterday, because if Mike was there to talk about Mayo's press conference, I think I would have destroyed my radio if he threw another tantrum. Not that I totally disagree with what Felker complains about, but I am worried about the state of the team next year. But the new regime has my patience, to say the least, and I'm not freaking the F out every day like him. Also, the reason I hate the fact the hip drop tackle got banned is because whenever it inevitably happens on a CBS broadcast with Nance and Romo, we're going to hear Tony say, I don't know, was that a hip drop making that? It's going to be a huge call in the game.
Mahomes first down.
What?
When that happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be in the playoffs, and it's going to be Chiefs versus Titans or something, and it's going to ruin a big play.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's going to happen all the time, and unless they don't call it.
Yeah,
they've had some sort of emphasis on different areas of the rules, and they sort of call it a little bit, and then it goes away.
Like the pass interference one a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, just stuff like that, you know. And if that's what ends up happening, then I think it'll be fine. I just think it's. Like I said, I've seen some of these videos that they've put out, and I've seen a lot of different tackles, and they're different. A lot of them look different to me, and if they're all going to be judged to be the same, then I think people are going to rightly wonder, well, why was that a penalty and that one isn't? Because I think there's going to be a lot of inconsistency with the way it's viewed.
Yeah.
David in Maine says, we fans are disappointed. This is the voice of the fan right here, David from Maine. We fans are disappointed because we should be doing what the Titans are doing. We're kind of in the same boat as the Titans, although they are a better team. They, too, have a new coach, new quarterback, not a great team last year. The big difference is that we had way more money than the Titans, but they are adding all the talent they can. It's fine we missed out on Ridley, but going forward, we will have to pay a suck tax. For now, our magnet needs to be cash. I hope the front office gets that. I know we're big on value, and that's great, but we can't worry about that now. Pay more now and hopefully pay less later. Okay?
Okay. Can I just say I'm going to go on the other side here now?
Yes.
And I said that I took exception to Gerard Mayo using the phrase, we're going to do it the right way.
Yep.
I would take just as much exception to the fact if Rand Carthen said, we're going out and we're going to add as much talent as we can. We want to do it the right way.
Right.
That's the right way for Tennessee. Tennessee has decided we're going to get Snead. We're going to get Pollard. We're going to get Ridley. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's what they've decided is best for them.
Right.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean it's going to work. Right?
Right.
They got Hopkins last year and went 6-11.
Right. Now, I think what the
good Matisse.
But the fair comparison is they stink, you stink, they're being aggressive, you're not. Now, it doesn't mean, again, that one is right. I hate when people – it used to bother me when Bill did this. Remember Scott Pioli? You know, it's not about the best
We're
53.
Yeah.
It's the right 53. Yeah. And we're not just collecting talent. We believe that this is the right way to do – yeah, that's great. That's what you believe. That doesn't mean it's right.
Oh.
It's just like when
It's
you're
kind of
convicted.
proven right.
Yeah, by 12. When you had the best, you won.
Freddy Krueger.
I mean, that's it. I mean, I just hate when people try to tell me that doesn't work. This is the way to do it. When I've seen in that league so many different ways to build a team that have been successful.
Christian writes in from North Carolina, Paul, put me down for not wanting May. Don't think he will.
Who's this?
This Christian from North Carolina. I don't think he will translate to the NFL. Look at when
got a ledger.
the going got tough for him and how his play was. I have many more reasons too. Jaden or Caleb are my pick, if not trade out.
Caleb's not happening. 100%.
So, and you know that where I stand on this particular element of Caleb Williams, but so when the going went tough for Drake May, he was no good. And you're all in on Caleb Williams because he definitely showed all kinds of composure when the going went tough.
Paul, finally on my side of the
I mean,
street.
I think it's ridiculous. As you know, that he will be the number 1 overall pick, and one of you are going to owe me something when he goes number 1 overall.
Why? Who doesn't think he's going to go number 1? I never said he wasn't going number 1. People there at that time, people were saying, "Oh, he may not be number 1." But I never said that. Yes, you did. No, I didn't.
I think it's locked in. I'll see.
I think it's locked in too. But my point is, there's psychos like Felger and Maz out there that are completely out on Caleb Williams because he cried.
Absurd.
And his father.
And we can't have anything to do with Drake May because when things got tough, he folded. But we love Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Spee and Fresno, for each of you.
Just for the record, I love them both.
For each of you, if you had to add a new way of scoring in the NFL, what would it be? To use an Alex word, it can manifest in any phase of the game, can be a point increase or a deduction, and can be worth whatever you want. Be creative. The world is listening. Like a new way to score.
I have one. 60-yard field goal should be 4 points. 60-yard plus.
Okay, that's a good one.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's like a 3-point shot in basketball.
Yeah. If you're hitting
get an extra point.
If you're hitting a field goal 60+ yards, you get an extra point.
How about if we go the other way and we say any field goal inside of 40 yards is only worth 2?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you miss a PAT -2.
Maybe the CFL rules where, you tackle the guy in the end zone, it's a single, something like that.
I like the
What's
one.
It called?
I don't know. I like the one they added a couple years ago. The if you block a PAT and get it back, you get the 2 points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
What about no more PATs? You only can go for 2.
At that point, you gotta get.
That's another
rid of the kicker.
XFL. That's another XFL one. They had three different extra points. One from the 2, one from the 10, and I think one from the 15, something like that.
So.
And they were worth 1, 2, and 3 points.
Yep. It could work. I don't know. I think the best thing the NFL did in recent memory was push the PAT back. Screwed over the Pats in 2015, but it's just not a gimme.
Well, weren't we the ones pushing for it?
Were we? Probably.
Yeah, Bill.
I think so.
Bill thought it wasn't a competitive play.
Yeah.
I think it's for the better, but
yeah, it's fine. I mean, I didn't really see the need to change it, but it's fine. And now, to your point, it's just like anything else. You change it, and then it's done that way for 10 years, and you don't even think about it anymore.
I don't know. I say 60-yard field goal, 4 points. Change it up a little.
I mean, that's as good as anything.
Yeah.
I don't really have. The emailer doesn't have any.
No, he didn't offer
suggestions?
any. Yeah.
I like those kinds of things. Just like when Fred and I have our long discussions on why do you need 10 yards for a first down.
Jules, who's on line 2? All right, Sean, what's up?
Hey, Matisse, Paul, and Fred. Great to hear from you.
How we doing?
Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned trades possible for Higgins and for Ayuk, but I, like Fred, was always a big fan of Jefferson from the beginning of hoping that they draft him, and of course they went the pick before. But what do you think it would take to get Jefferson now, and would the Patriots be willing to pay that kind of salary? Because it might be north of $30 million a year.
Well, to get him, you need. I think, wouldn't you have to give up a first-round pick for him?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
A first, maybe a second, or next year's first.
All right, thanks.
But the thing there is, like, if this is like a flaw. Like, so Minnesota has 11-23, and a lot of people have said, the Patriots trade down to 11, so Minnesota moves up 8 spots. You get 23, Maybe you get a first-round pick next year in Justin Jefferson, right? Well, if Minnesota is going to trade all of that to move up to 3, they're going to do it for what? A quarterback, right?
Right.
And you're going to trade Justin Jefferson?
Well, it's also like they're saying, I think he's a trade target because he's unhappy with their quarterback situation. So now he's coming here. He's going to get paid, but he's going to be pretty miserable.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is, why would Minnesota? Like, I understand why Minnesota would trade him. He's in the last year of his deal. They want to get something for him.
But then you get the quarterback.
But they're aggressively trying to get a quarterback, I would think, to help convince him to sign, to stay, and give the new quarterback someone to throw to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that works. Justin Jefferson is the one I would take over the others too. I'm with Sean. I think he's right. But I think no. To answer the question, do I think the Patriots would pay him north of $30 million a year? No. I don't.
Hal writes in, born in Mass, grew up in Maine, longtime Patriots fan, now stuck on the surface of the sun in Phoenix. Here are my thoughts, he says.
Thoughts?
Regardless of which quarterback the Patriots take, the offense goes nowhere without a solid offensive line.
Yeah.
Will the Patriots
Depends on
bolster
who the quarterback is.
Will the Patriots bolster those positions while the new quarterback learns the offense? I think back at Burt Jones and the Colts, who had no line and thus his career was cut short. Second, wasn't Mac Jones worth more than some 6th-round pick, or was that all the Patriots could get for him? Yeah,
that's all they could get for him.
That's it. And lastly, is Zeke still in the backfield this year? I haven't been following as I'm getting revved up for the Red Sox.
He's free agent.
Yeah, Zeke is unsigned. He's still available.
And I'm pretty sure if he gets signed somewhere, it'll be around the same time he signed here. That's kind of the way the running back market is now.
Well, plus, for veterans like that, they're not really looking to do all that work in the offseason. They'll work out on their own.
You got to think he's a ring Jason now at this point. He's got his big contract. I don't know, maybe Kansas City, something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
See you in August.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Longino from Jersey. Just want to say that it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous
how we're getting so close to the draft and how negative comments people are saying about Drake May. I don't know how he's going to turn out, but I'd rather get him, if we could, and turn to a bust than not get him and he be an all-pro on another team. It sucks to be in this situation, but hopefully we get it right and not go through another QB carousel.
Who's this?
Longino from Jersey.
So that's the prototypical PU argument right there.
Yeah.
That's a debate.
Right.
Would you rather pick him and have him be a bust or not pick him, have him go later, and turn into an all-pro?
I'd rather take the shot and have him be a bust.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I guess it didn't turn out to be as good of a debate as I thought.
But
I like it, Longino. I like the way you think.
You can't pass up on a quarterback that high.
Can't win if you don't play.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's getting to sound like me saying I hope the Patriots are not a team that's easy to defend. It's getting to be the same thing when we say if you like the quarterback, you got to take him.
My thing is, say we take May. Is he gonna sit for the whole year? Like, I know they'll say, oh, he's gonna sit, but
probably not.
Because once it's week 5 and you're 1-4 and those boo birds come out, I think you got to play him, no matter, because people's jobs are on the line there and stuff.
I think so too.
And then are you gonna, like, if he's not ready, if our O line's trash, is he gonna get hurt?
They'll play him when he's ready.
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't think the idea is we've determined today that he's not playing all year.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's exactly what they're going to do. But I think if they feel like he's ready, they'll do it. Now, the other side of that is everybody says, like start Brissett, and if they're, when they're 1-5, well, what if you start Brissett and just start winning a few games? What if the schedule's light early and you get off to a good start? Now, I would still play the rookie when I felt like the rookie's ready. Miami did this 3 or 4 years ago with Tua. Remember this?
Yeah.
They got out to a decent start with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, you weren't going anywhere with Ryan Fitzpatrick as your quarterback. But I want to say they were over 500.
Yeah, I think so.
And they were in the playoff race, and they made the move anyway. And then Tua finished the season with a winning record, too. They didn't make the playoffs, but they were okay. And, obviously Tua's been the guy ever since. But I wonder if, let's say instead of 1-5, they went, 4-2 in the first 6 with Brissett.
Robin, the Catskills.
Can't get you to engage, guy.
I wasn't listening.
I know. You hurt my feelings.
Robin the Catskills, I'm not upset in the lack of free agency.
I'm not upset.
Spending. I think we had a lot of players worth keeping on our team, and I agree with Coach Mayo that the free agent crop wasn't particularly good.
Coach Mayo.
I am upset that L'Jarius Sneed isn't on this team. He's a young player who could have been had for a pick next year in money, which the team has. Should we be hammering Elliott Wolf for what seems to be a lack of purpose?
So it's Sneed that was the one that has you upset,
Yes.
not anybody else.
Yes.
It's just this year we have one pick in every round, correct?
There's one extra one, the 6th round. that
Now
they got
because of the
from
Mac Jones.
Jacksonville.
But now that's a third round pick. Like that's a lot to give up for. You need to be certain on it. So I don't know. I see it both ways.
Yeah. I think the big thing for Sneed is the money.
Yeah.
Like I think you would give up a 3rd round pick for a top flight, all pro caliber corner.
You got to pay him.
Andrew
I'm
writes
not sure they
in,
would've.
it's becoming increasingly obvious that free agents don't want to come to New England. If you look at Calvin Ridley's comments about why he didn't sign with New England, high taxes, too cold, girlfriend didn't like it. We never heard those reasons.
Did we see those comments from Ridley, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know if he said those things. We
just wanted to.
Yeah, we never heard those reasons when Brady was here. Our only hope is to sign rookies that don't have a choice but to play here. How different would this free agency period be if we had Mike Vrabel as our head coach? And one last comment.
I have no idea.
I don't know why they didn't sign a veteran left/swing tackle, Jonah Williams, and he says in parentheses, or even a wide receiver too, Curtis Samuel or Mooney. Whoever the quarterback will be, I think they will need someone in both of those positions that has some type of experience.
Yeah, I agree. And those are not big money kind of moves. I think they could have gotten an example at both of those spots and not – it would have been in line with the kind of free agent pickups that they've made, not break the bank kind of guys. The tackle especially, I think there were a couple of options that they didn't seem like they were in on. But the Ridley thing – I was taken aback when Ridley was introduced in Tennessee, and the Patriots never came up. Like there was nothing about any options, and to my knowledge anyway, unless I missed it. I'm not pretending to have watched the whole Calvin Ridley press conference, start to finish, but yeah, I'm not so sure the Patriots were even in the ball game. That would be more concerning to me.
Jules, who's on line 1? All right, Dan in Colorado, what's up?
Dan the man.
Hey, guys. So I read a Sports Illustrated article this morning in which they detailed the Vikings possibly trading the 11th, the 23rd, and potentially a first-round pick next year to the Patriots for 3. I think they should absolutely do this. This team is clearly not ready to really be a contender right now. I think that partially has something to do with why they didn't compete in free agency. I don't know if that's how they want to build their team, nor should they. This team really doesn't have anything to highlight on offense right now. So I would love the opportunity to get 2 first-round picks and really start building the team that way, as opposed to getting a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels and watch them struggle for a couple of years until we can build a team around them. Would love to know your guys' thoughts.
Well, I would just say what.
He's gonna.
No one really wants to know the thought. No one wants to have a conversation.
He's going to hang up and listen, Paul.
But I wanted to have a conversation.
First time, long time, I'll hang up and listen.
So I just would say, to me, I'll steal Fred's line so he doesn't have to keep repeating it. Like, if you really like that quarterback, I don't understand
That's
why.
part of the build. Yeah.
Right. Like, so if the guy can't play, we're all in agreement. Like, it's a bad move. Yeah. Like, if the guy ends up being a bust, he's a bust. I don't want to hear about he really was great, but he didn't have anything to work with. Because there's a lot of guys that find a way to work with what they have and at least show their ability. Okay? C.J. Stroud did not inherit the Kansas City Chiefs of 3 years ago. I don't even want to use them from last year. Like, he made the Texans better.
Yep.
His presence lifted Nico Collins and Devin Singletary. Those guys were just run-of-the-mill players that he made look good, because that's what good quarterbacks do. And it's not a great offense. So it's better than the Patriots. I get it. Laramie Tunsil's a good tackle. He's much better than anything the Patriots have at tackle. But he's the reason why.
Right.
And why would you not be interested if you think, to steal Fred's line, if you think Drake May is good enough, Why would you not be interested to see if he can lift your team like that?
It's like, man, I've got the money, and someone's offering me a Maserati. I can have it, but I don't have a garage.
Now, if you don't think that, then I'm all for.
Right.
Was that Christian? Who was that? I forget who it was.
Right.
I'm all for that theory. If I don't think, listen, I'm not taking Drake May because I'm just not sure he's all that good. I think he's going to get overdrafted by somebody.
Yeah.
By all means, if you have an opportunity to get 11, 23, and a 25 first-round pick, take it.
Do you think when they're making that decision, they're looking at next year's class too?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm worried about it, because I don't think there's going to be a lot in next year's class.
I mean, I only know
quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah. It's just Shador, the Jackson Dart kid. I don't even know how good he is.
But at the same time,
are you convinced about Shador Sanders?
I love Shador.
Yeah, but are you convinced that he's going to be a player?
I think he's solid. I don't think he's going to be.
He'll run around and make plays, but that's about it.
But at the same time, I don't reach for a quarterback this year because I don't think the crop next year is good. It's the same.
I don't want to reach under any circumstances.
Right.
If you love May or Daniels, take him. Just take him. It's needed. Quarterback's the most important position. Brissett's not the long-term answer. So.
Nate, Northeast Pennsylvania. I just wanted to shout out the Patriots.com team for the awesome content pumped out relating to the dynasty. Excuse me.
Oh, wow. Freddie, this is us.
I had Italian with hot. Your recaps were fantastic, especially the last episode with Jeff and Matt. My favorite feature in the doc was Scott Pioli's commentary. Watching him inspired me to go back and listen to his double feature on the Pats from the past. I highly recommend everyone listening right now to tune into those episodes. Scott has an awesome perspective and history with the team, and I learned a lot. Lastly, watching the doc has me wondering, I'm 30 years old right now. Do any of you think we'll learn more about the Butler benching in Super Bowl 52 in my lifetime? That's a good question.
I do think
you
that
think
will
so,
come
Paul?
out of it.
It'll come out.
He's young. He's 30.
Yeah.
Me? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have much time.
No, I think.
No, I think at some point someone's going to tell.
I still need to see the last two episodes. I'm busy.
But I haven't seen the last two.
No, I have to watch the last two.
The
last two were good.
What do we find out first? Why Butler didn't play, or who really killed Jack Kennedy? What do we find out first?
I'm not going to go Butler.
Okay.
Butler.
Yeah. All right.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was both.
I don't know. If you
That's
like
why
Mike Lombardi, he already knows.
That's why Butler didn't play.
What?
That's why Butler didn't play.
Let's see. Andre from New Jersey. Let me tell you a few things that grind my gears, he says. One, you guys
really grinds my gears.
You guys talk all the time that we have no pass rush other than Judon, and we need to draft a guy, but can we give a player named Keon White a chance to see what he can do in 2 years in this defensive scheme first, please?
I don't think he's an edge rusher. I think he's an interior guy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play next to Barmore.
Yeah.
He's going to get his chance to play.
Yeah.
I think that's why they got rid of Lawrence Guy.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Keon White, he wasn't a pass rusher in college. It's not like he's going to all of a sudden become one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he might have the ability.
But he could be good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And maybe he has the ability to pick up some sacks because, like Barmore. I don't think Barmore is a, quote, pass rusher, but he got to the quarterback a lot.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
The other thing that grinds Andre's gears is the PU halftime show needs to go.
Oh.
That bald-headed guy with the beard doesn't bring the excitement, and the show is very dull with boring conversations.
Because he's too cool.
I'd rather listen to Paul wolf down some chicken fingers and fries for 7 minutes.
He's welcome to hop on the show whenever. Have him call in.
You're just going to get more excited.
All right. I'll bring the juice.
We didn't have any.
Take your shirt off or something.
We didn't have a halftime show. We didn't have any trivia today.
I haven't had that. I haven't.
We did Mayo today at halftime.
Yeah.
Got one this week. I'll try to juice it up.
And finally, already hate this new regime. The only thing I like was bringing back Onwenu and Duggar. I miss BB. Oh, okay.
Well, you seem to be the only one.
Yeah, where were you the last 3 years?
Because I've been listening to a lot of comments come out of Foxborough, and that's the only one that I heard that missed a BB.
Jules, who's on line 3? All right, Bronson, you're up.
Arroyo?
Bronson.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Okay.
Good. So just a quick question for you. So I'm kind of on the same thing as I was sick when we paid Juju the same contract as Jacoby Myers. Now, going off of that, what do you guys think we could actually get for him in a trade?
For Juju?
For Juju?
Nothing.
Like a 6th-round pick?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might be like you
So
get
like
you
a
send a
sixth, so
seventh
like-
and get a sixth.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if talking about these trades for some of these receivers, if you included Juju in that trade, and that would bump our, like we'd have to give him a fifth instead of like a sixth or something, or what are your guys'
That's a
thoughts on
possibility.
that? Or is
I
it
think
because
that,
of his
and I'm not trying to be
contract being too big, they
disrespectful of
wouldn't do
Juju
that?
here, but that lowers the trade value.
Oh no.
No, Fred, it does because of the contract. Yeah. That means you get
Yeah,
less.
that's my thought is the contract.
I'm not. That's why I preface it by saying I'm not being disrespectful to Juju.
What's he getting now? 8 million.
His marketability is not very good right
7?
now.
I think it's 8.
8
around that, right?
Something like that. I don't know.
But someone gets the salary, not
Yeah, that's
the
true.
signing bonus.
You
Like
get
someone has
loaded.
to get that, so you'd get less.
Yeah. Thanks, Bronson.
Now that said, Bronson's not wrong. Like you try.
Yeah.
You see if someone will take him.
Yeah. Who's on line 1, Jules? Oliver, what's up?
May I have another?
Oliver. Please, sir.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. And we're here. We're all here.
So just want some feedback or your thoughts on this. I know that the Vikings trading up is probably not worth as much as the Chargers moving up, but in the case scenario, how much would we get for the Chargers moving up to 3? We move back to 5, still get our guy because Chargers and Cardinals are not getting quarterbacks.
But why do the
Chargers will ideally
But
get
why do the
Marvin
Chargers want to
Harrison,
move
the
up?
best.
I
They
said
would
the
get
Vikings.
Marvin Harrison at 3 versus a Neighbors or a Doomsday.
But you think the Chargers are going to move up from 5 to 3 for that?
That's what I'm saying. Would they do that, and
I
what
don't-
value would that bring?
I mean, I think
They don't-
personally, I think that'd be a very foolish move.
They
in
don't
this,
need to.
In this wide receiver class, I think that'd be a waste to give up any resources to get up 2 spots, so you get Harrison instead of Neighbors, who
Yeah, they could take Harrison, Neighbors, or Bowers at where they're at.
first of all, they could get any of those guys at 5.
Yeah,
Could.
yeah.
But even if you lose one of them, there are a lot of people that think that Neighbors is better.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Jeremiah, who's one of the most respected guys, isn't sure that Neighbors is any different than.
But it only
than
matters
Harrison.
what the Chargers think, and maybe they think Marvin Harrison is a generational
Right.
talent.
But what I'm saying is, I think it would be foolish to trade anything to move up 2 spots to do something like that.
Does Harbaugh trade up
now,
for JJ?
If it was a situation where you have a quarterback that you needed to get, and you love the quarterback, you think he's generational, that's different. Because now I can't get him at 5.
Yeah.
But I have to move up to get him.
Yeah.
That's I don't think it's realistic that the Chargers would move up to get Marvin Harrison. I think first of all, I think there's a very good chance they could get him at 5.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for the call. One more call. Who's on line 2? Hey, Jonah. Jonah, you in the whale?
Hey, guys.
All right, what's up?
So my question is about the quarterback depth in this draft. Like, we haven't looked at Caleb Williams because we know we're not getting him, or at least that's me.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, do you think that the fact that there's this guy that everyone knows is great, do you think that's changing our opinion of May and Daniels? Are we valuing them wrong because there's this guy who's better that we're not even thinking about?
No, I don't think. I think you evaluate the quarterbacks individually.
Yeah, I'm not quite following you.
And I think
so.
that the
Caleb
Patriots-
Williams is so good that we have a bad evaluation of Daniels and in May. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. Is that there's a best guy.
Yeah.
Is it worse? Like, if they're worse than Caleb Williams, maybe they're good, but maybe we think of them as great. We're not comparing them to the right people. Maybe I'm not making any sense.
No, you're not.
Well,
That's kind of the back of my mind.
Yeah, I just
All right.
I don't get.
Thanks
it.
for the call.
The phone's a little sketchy
Yeah.
there, but I didn't really quite understand the logic.
I think it's just saying Caleb Williams is such a high prospect that it's making us look at the other two differently.
But he's saying they're making him look
better.
at him better. I would think if that's the case, you'd look at him as being worse.
Yeah, it's like
just because they're not as good as Caleb Williams doesn't mean they're not worthy prospects. But he's saying the opposite. They're not as good as Caleb Williams, but we're making them look better than they are.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
A little confusing.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
But I don't know how
Caleb
they'll look-
Williams cried.
The bottom line
All
is, I don't know how they're looking at him, Freddie.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't. All right, But I do know that that's the end of this show. We'll be back on Thursday with another edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Anything else going on this week we need to relay to the fans? No?
I think
No
so.
shows? John Rook?
Well,
Nothing?
we're working on another draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another
What's it
draft.
called?
Draft countdown.
Draft countdown.
We got something
show.
cooking up.
Yeah, we got something cooking up.
If you like
Speaking of Daniel
talking
Jeremiah,
about the draft, that'll be a good podcast for you. All right, we'll see you Thursday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts. Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.